Today, RM Sotheby's in London. Can be a lot of Ferraris and a lot of old cars. Kicking things off with some cheap Ferraris. Ferrari Mondial there, £40,000, and a lineup of three 348s for between £50,000 to £60,000. So you can still pick up a reasonably cheap Ferrari. This one I'm not sure what it is, but the blue one is a 400i, which did not sell for between £50,000 to £80,000. This did sell outrageous money, £2.2 million. It's a 512 Spider, one of only 3 in the world, and it's on like 500 kilometers. There's a normal 512, and behind that is another 512. If you want a blue one to match your new Spider coupe, you could have picked that up for 140 grand, so about 5% of the value of the Spider version. Now we have a Ferrari 599, then into a Ferrari 550, then into a 550, I think, Super America, and that sold for less money than you would think, 300k. Now we have a XJ220. This was like a poster car back when I was younger. Has an awful interior and a metro engine, but it did do 217 miles an hour, just 3 miles an hour less than what they advertised it would do. Now we have a Jaguar E-Type, beautiful, immaculate paintwork, doesn't look rusty, sold for only £57,000. That Bentley didn't sell, I think it was £400,000 to £500,000. That old Rolls Royce did sell for 120 grand, and this old Mercedes did sell for I think £350,000. Needs a little bit of restoration, I think. Looks a bit rusty. Then we have this car from an old British company, which unfortunately out of business, but it was a race car back in the day. That is not an F1 car, that is a replica. And this is a real car. This is actually an Aston Martin DB5, which did not sell for I think £500,000 to £600,000. And the car next to it was listed I think at £250,000 to £350,000. Not sure what it is, but it didn't sell. Then nipping over here, there is another Bentley and a Porsche 356 Spider. This sold for 300 grand. Looks pretty cool. Very good condition. Looks kind of cute. Based on a Volkswagen Beetle, but way cooler. This is another Ferrari which didn't sell. It was 200 to 250,000 pounds. And now we come over to another Aston Martin DB5. This one is what they call a project car, sold for 350 grand. People like it because you can restore it in the specification that you like. Then we have another Aston Martin. This one's a DB4, 300 grand I think this one sold for. Looks pretty cool to me. Then we have a Ferrari Dino, has a 2-litre engine with 170 horsepower and sold for like £250,000. Then we have another Ferrari, this one's a Testarossa. We have an interesting colour interior, it's like cream/yellow. Then we have a McLaren Mercedes SLR 722. Another Ferrari, not entirely sure what this one is. I do know what this one is. This is a Ferrari F40, which sold for almost £2 million. Like, if you got one of these, picked one of these up 15 years ago, you could have got one for like 200 grand or something. Would have been a great investment. One of the most iconic Ferraris ever made. You can see the weave of the carbon underneath the paintwork because the paint is so thin. But looks pretty epic. This is where the auction will take place. And just nipping over to a Mercedes 300 SL. The Mercedes you see next to it is a replica of the world's first car, not the real one. But look at that interior. Beautiful. Red, chrome. What more would you want? Then we come over to another Aston Martin. This is actually a DB4 convertible. And this is an old Ferrari. A 250. I think a GT. The interior is beautiful. That £1.2 million. Nipping outside, we have a Mercedes SL63 Black Series. And next to that, a Porsche Carrera RS. Do like one of those. And then the best BMW ever made, the M3 CSL. This went for little money. I think it went for 65 grand and it only has 37,000 miles. Honestly, bit of a bargain. Then over to another Aston Martin DB4. That car, I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what these two undercover are. But I do know what the next one is. That is a 930 Turbo. That had £108,000 worth of things done to it recently, and it sold for 130 grand. And I'm not sure if the buyer had to pay for the £108,000 as well. Next to that was a GT2, and then a 575, and then an Alonso edition of a 599. And then, I think, to me, this is kind of the highlight of the show. This is an old Skyline R32 that used to race in the Japanese Touring Car Championship. Came second in the championship, I think in 1994. Has an RB26 motor in it, of course, and kicks out about 450 horsepower. I just love the livery. Really stands out. The wide arches, epic.